It's the 2002 HSBC Women's MAAC Championship next, and the championship trophy is on the line. And welcome to the Pepsi Arena in Albany, New York. Tonight, it's the MAAC Women's Championship game featuring the number 2 seed St. Peter's going up against the number 1 seeded Saints of Siena. Here's how they got here. St. Peter's beating Loyola and Manhattan. Siena defeating Iona and Fairfield. Welcome, everybody, to our championship call. I'm Dean Darling along with Cecilia DeMarco. And Cecilia, this is the way it is supposed to be. Number 1 against number 2 in the final game of the MAAC season.
Absolutely. We're seeing the best teams. They're well coached. They have quality players. They have good, strong backcourts. They've got great inside presence, and they have terrific benches. This is going to be the last second shot. Once again, Dean, it's going to be a barn burner.
And Cecilia, all season long, St. Peter's has been getting great play in the post, led by a new player and led by a veteran.
Well, Tanisha Seton is a big-time player. She rebounds and blocks shots and sends the ball back to all of her opponents. She plays with the forward, Felicia Harris, the 5'11", lightning-quick forward, can step from the outside and power it up from the inside. She's about to play in her 3rd championship.
The Saints of Siena, a team that also boasts a strong front line, but it all starts in the backcourt.
And the backcourt is Steady Eddie. Erica Anderson, the 5'8" guard, can hit it from the outside and light it up on the inside. But more often than not, her assists are going to the best player in the MAAC, 2-time Player of the Year, Gunta Bashko. What do you say about her? The only player in the court that will stop her tonight, the official.
All right, let's take a look now at the HSBC keys to the game. Let's start with the Peahens.
Well, the Peahens have to shoot well tonight. They have to get their percentages up in the 40s. They have to set the tempo. They don't want to run with Siena, and they have to keep the game in the low-scoring 60s. I think that's the biggest key to the game for them. Siena, of course, wants to run, get some easy baskets. They need to rebound in both ends, and they have to palm the ball inside, make those big players from St. Peter's foul, get the ball in Yansoni's hands.
Coming up next, we'll come back with today's starting lineups and the start of this championship game from the Pepsi Arena in Albany right after this on the MAAC Television Network.
This game is brought to you in part by the Pepsi-Cola Company, the joy of Pepsi. By HSBC. By Continental Airlines, work hard, fly right. And by the New York Lottery. Have you bought your lotto ticket yet? You could win millions. New York Lotto. Hey, you never know.
And welcome back to the finals of the 2002 HSBC Women's MAAC Tournament. Let's take a look now at the I Love New York starting lineups. First of all, for St. Peter's at 24-5. They go there with Porter, Phillip, Willis, along with Felicia Harris and Tanisha Seton, the number 3 rebounder in the MAAC. Take a look now at Siena, Kraft, McKissick, and Anderson. A 3-guard look. And then up front, it's Jolene Johnston and Gunta Bashko. Bashko, 2-time MAAC Player of the Year. Gina Castelli down her 12th year with 6 21 seasons under her belt. She's 1-1 in the big game, the championship games. And the dean of MAAC coaches, Mike Brunelli, in his 30th year, 577 career wins. He has won 8 postseason titles in the MAAC. The officials, Marty Novich, along with Phyllis Devaney and Bob McEntee. We are ready to go as Marty Novich is ready to toss up. Thanks for joining us on the MAAC Television Network. That's Jolene Johnston with it. Anderson now looking for McKissick. Moscow had the pass deflected. We marveled yesterday, Cecilia, at how the way they get the ball around the horn.
Well, they just pass the ball around. The concept of taking the ball from the side to the top to the side is drilled in their practices because they make certain that everyone, equal opportunity touches, getting good shots, making the defense work on every possession.
Sue Porter, a veteran, a 4-year player for Mike Brunelli, wearing number 3. That's Willis. Now up top for Phillip, a former walk-on who earned a scholarship this year. Staying outside for Felicia Harris. Got a nice crossover dribble. And it's 2-0.
Yeah, Felicia Harris is their go-to player. If they're going to, and this would be a mild kind of upset because Siena had beaten St. Peter's pretty soundly in the 2 games that they played in the regular season. If they're going to do it, Felicia Harris has to have a big game, and she started out going right at Gunta Boschko.
Johnston's taking the first couple of shots. She bangs the second. We're tied at 2.
And Johnston's been such a warrior through this tournament. This is a kid that doesn't get a lot of press, boy, but she is around every loose ball. She makes her opponent work, and she bangs you hard on those boards.
McKissick playing tough on D against Willis. Siena has beaten St. Peter's 5 games in a row. And a push is called.
And Johnston may have reached in on that foul. I'll tell you what, there are not many teams in the MAAC that can say that they've beaten St. Peter's 5 times in 10 years, let alone 5 times in the last few seasons. Gina Costelli's team just seems to have St. Peter's number. And, you know, Mike Rinelli is such a coaching legend that I think he's very intimidating for coaches to coach against. Gina seems to step away and just let the kids do the talking.
First foul ball game called there. Now reset for St. Peter's. Jillian Johnston for the clear. Nice anticipation that time by Harris.
And Harris is all over the court. She's stealing the ball. She's driving to the basket. Needs a big game, knows it. This is her 3rd championship. She's walked away with 2 rings, wants a 3rd.
Harris, the 7th all-time leading scorer for the dish inside. And going the other way. Yeah, you know,
and Gunta's going to have a tough time against Seton on the inside. She's giving her probably 4 inches. And the Yansoni matchup, the bigger team that Siena plays, will probably get into the game a little earlier. They don't want Gunta in foul trouble, so they're not going to let Seton in the low block take advantage of that size.
Willis picked up that foul. That is she right there. Inbound now for the Saints off the deflection. Gunta Boschko. And a near steal. Wrestled away by Anderson. Anderson leading the team in assists, 101 in the regular season, and she's had a strong tournament, averaging 6.5 assists in the 2 days. Boschko for the spin. 4-2 Saints.
Well, Seton can't give Boschko room. And I think the plan might be to stay behind, let her take some shots, and maybe deflect with those long arms that Seton has. But Gunta's such a fine player, as I said at the start. I think the only person that's going to get her in any kind of trouble is the official. I'm not sure there's a player out there that can defend her offensive abilities.
The tie-up will keep the ball down the far end. These players really get after it when the ball goes to the floor. We've seen it throughout the last 4 days.
The style of both these teams is just good, solid basketball. They keep it clean and they play hard.
Off the foot of Harris and out of bounds.
And so far, the tempo is the St. Peter's tempo. You know what? St. Peter's doesn't want to get this game into the 70s. When Siena's in the 70s, Siena's win ball game. St. Peter's wants to keep it in the 60s, keep it slow, make them work for every shot.
There's Boschko with the give-up pass to Kraft. Wrestled down by Seton.
Boschko might have been better served taking that shot. Seton wasn't coming out to the 3, and Boschko can nail it at the 3.
Seton has done well in the rebounding category. 10.5 rebounds in a 2-day tournament.
And had an evening where she swatted back 5 blocks in the Manhattan game. Boy, she makes a difference in the middle. The transfer from Kentucky is a big timer and giving big time minutes to St. Pete's.
Lead out pass that time. That's Anderson hook it up with Boschko.
We'll say that a whole lot of times tonight. Anderson to Boschko.
Saints by 4. Nearly 3.5 gone by. Porter, the real guts of this team at the point guard position, wearing number 3. Harris hopping inside.
Well, Porter just doesn't make mistakes with the ball. She's averaging less than 1 turnover a game and is on the court probably for about 36 minutes a ball game. That's just a phenomenal statistic. But she does it in kind of a, look at this. She does this in kind of a way that, you know, she subtly just gets it done. Gunta Boschko may have got hammered on that, but the official wasn't going to make that call that early in the game.
Yeah, Boschko on the year knocking down 39% of her threes, pushing her lead up to 5. Called inside.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, the game plan is get the ball into Harris, let Harris work on Johnston. That may be Johnston's 2nd foul. So Coach Costelli needs to get to the bench, and when she does, she's going back in with the Yansoni. Now watch, Boschko will come and pick up Harris, which is a nice little matchup. Now remember, Boschko was not only the MAAC Player of the Year, but she's also the defensive MAAC Player of the Year. So this isn't going to hurt. This might, in fact, help Siena's interior defense a little bit.
What a luxury that is to have this lady come in, Liene Jansone. In replacement there of the foul play, Jolene Johnston. She leaves with the 2. As Lindsey Gonzalez now checking in. Strong backup point guard.
Yeah, and really picks up St. Peter's pace a little bit. She's a little bit more active at the point than Porter. And she may get in a little trouble with that because of her turnovers. But I'll tell you what luxury. You mentioned Siena's luxury to go to Jansone as a 6th player. Now remember, Jansone received the 6th Player of the Year award from the coaches this year. So you've got all kinds of good stuff happening when she gets on the court.
Boschko with big numbers. She's got 7 of their first 9. We'll be back after this break on the MAAC Television Network.
This game is brought to you in part by the Pepsi-Cola Company, the joy of Pepsi. By HSBC. By Continental Airlines, work hard, fly right. And by the New York Lottery. Have you bought your lotto ticket yet? You could win millions. New York Lotto. Hey, you never know.
And welcome back to the finals of the 2002 HSBC Women's MAAC Tournament. Let's take a look now at the I Love New York starting lineups. First of all, for St. Peter's at 24-5. They go there with Porter, Phillip, Willis, along with Felicia Harris and Tanisha Seaton, the number 3 rebounder in the MAAC. Take a look now at Siena, Kraft, McKissick, and Anderson. A 3-guard look. And then up front, it's Jolene Johnston and Gunta Boschko. Boschko, 2-time MAAC Player of the Year. Gina Castelli, down her 12th year with 6 20-win seasons under her belt. She's 1-1 in the big game, the championship games. And the dean of MAAC coaches, Mike Grinelli, in his 30th year, 577 career wins. He has won 8 postseason titles in the MAAC. The officials, Marty Novich, along with Phyllis Devaney and Bob McEntee. We are ready to go as Marty Novich is ready to toss up. Thanks for joining us on the MAAC Television Network. That's Jolene Johnston with it. Anderson now looking for McKissick. Boschko had the pass deflected. We marveled yesterday, Cecilia, at how the way they get the ball around the horn.
Well, they just pass the ball around. The concept of taking the ball from the side to the top to the side is drilled in their practices because they make certain that everyone, equal opportunity touches, getting good shots, making the defense work on every possession.
Sue Porter, a veteran, a 4-year player for Mike Grinelli, wearing number 3. That's Willis. Now up top for Phillip, a former walk-on who earned a scholarship this year. Staying outside for Felicia Harris. Got a nice crossover dribble. And it's 2-0.
Yeah, Felicia Harris is their go-to player. If they're going to, and this would be a mild kind of upset because Siena had beaten St. Peter's pretty soundly in the 2 games that they played in the regular season. If they're going to do it, Felicia Harris has to have a big game, and she started out going right at Gunta Boschko.
Johnston's taking the first couple shots. She bangs the second. We're tied at 2.
And Johnston's been such a warrior through this tournament. This is a kid that doesn't get a lot of press, boy, but she is around every loose ball. She makes her opponent work, and she bangs you hard on those boards.
McKissick playing tough on D against Willis. Siena has beaten St. Peter's 5 games in a row. And a push is called.
And Johnston may have reached in on that foul. I'll tell you what, there are not many teams in the MAAC that can say that they've beaten St. Peter's 5 times in 10 years, let alone 5 times in the last few seasons. Gina Castelli's team just seems to have St. Peter's number. And, you know, Mike Grinelli is such a coaching legend that I think he's very intimidating for coaches to coach against. Gina seems to step away and just let the kids do the talking.
First foul of the ball game called there. Now reset for St. Peter's. Jolene Johnston for the clear. Nice anticipation that time by Harris.
And Harris is all over the court. She's stealing the ball. She's driving to the basket. Needs a big game, knows it. This is her 3rd championship. She's walked away with 2 rings, wants a 3rd. Harris,
the 7th all-time leading scorer for the dish inside. going the other way.
Yeah, and Gunther's going to have a tough time against Seton on the inside. She's giving her probably 4 inches. And the Yansoni matchup, the bigger team that Siena plays, will probably get into the game a little earlier. They don't want Gunther in foul trouble, so they're not going to let Seton in the low block take advantage of that side.
Willis picked up that foul. That is she right there. Inbound now for the Saints off the deflection. Into Boschko. And a near steal. Wrestled away by Anderson. Anderson leading the team in assists, 101 in the regular season, and she's had a strong tournament, averaging 6.5 assists in the 2 days. Boschko for the spin. 4-2 Saints.
Well, Seton can't give Boschko room. And I think the plan might be to stay behind, let her take some shots, and maybe deflect with those long arms that Seton has. But Gunther's such a fine player, as I said at the start. I think the only person that's going to get her in any kind of trouble is the official. I'm not sure there's a player out there that can defend her offensive abilities.
The tie-up will keep the ball down the far end. These players really get after it when the ball goes to the floor. We've seen it throughout the last 4 days.
The style of both these teams is just good, solid basketball. They keep it clean and they play hard.
Off the foot of Harris and out of bounds.
And so far, the tempo is the St. Peter's tempo. You know what? St. Peter's doesn't want to get this game into the 70s. When Siena's in the 70s, Siena's win ball game. St. Peter's wants to keep it in the 60s. Keep it slow. Make them work for every shot.
There's Boschko with the give-up pass to Kraft. Wrestled down by Seton.
Boschko might have been better served taking that shot. Seton wasn't coming out to the 3, and Boschko can nail it at the 3.
Seton has done well in the rebounding category. 10.5 rebounds in the 2-day tournament.
And had an evening where she swatted back 5 blocks in the Manhattan game. Boy, she makes a difference in the middle. The transfer from Kentucky is a big-timer and giving big-time minutes to St. Pete's.
Lead out pass that time. That's Anderson hooking up with Boschko.
We'll say that a whole lot of times tonight. Anderson to Boschko.
Saints by 4. Nearly 3.5 gone by. Porter, the real guts of this team at the point guard position, wearing number 3. Harris hopping inside.
Well, Porter just doesn't make mistakes with the ball. She's averaging less than 1 turnover a game and is on the court probably for about 36 minutes a ball game. That's just a phenomenal statistic. But she does it in kind of a, look at this. She does this in kind of a way that, she suddenly just gets it done. Gunther Boschko may have got hammered on that, but the official wasn't going to make that call that early in the game.
Yeah, Boschko on the year knocking down 39% of her threes, pushing her lead up to 5. Foul called inside.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, the game plan is get the ball into Harris, let Harris work on Johnston. That may be Johnston's 2nd foul. So Coach Costelli needs to get to the bench, and when she does, she's going back in with Yansoni. Now watch, Boschko will come and pick up Harris, which is a nice little matchup. Now remember, Boschko was not only the MAAC Player of the Year, but she's also the defensive MAAC Player of the Year. So this isn't going to hurt. This might, in fact, help Siena's interior defense a little bit.
What a luxury that is to have this lady come in, Liene Yansone. In replacement there, the foul play, Jolene Johnston. She leaves with the 2. That's Lindsey Gonzalez now checking in. Strong backup point guard.
Yeah, and really picks up St. Peter's pace a little bit. She's a little bit more active at the point than Porter. She may get in a little trouble with that because of her turnovers. But I'll tell you what luxury. You mentioned Siena's luxury to go to Yansoni as a 6th player. Now remember, Yansoni received the 6th Player of the Year award from the coaches this year. So you've got all kinds of good stuff happening when she gets on the court.
Boschko with big numbers. She's got 7 of their first 9. We'll be back after this break on the MAAC Television Network.
What are you looking for in a college? Cutting-edge academic programs, a faculty that's second to none, great recreational opportunities and residence halls? How about a college that will provide you with the education you need to become a leader in your profession and in your community? If that's what you're looking for in a college, you'll find it at Canisius. To learn more about Canisius College, call 1-800-843-1517 or visit us on the web at canisius.edu. Canisius College, where leaders are made.
Back here in Albany, New York, the MAAC Women's Championship. Saints lead it early, 9-4. HSBC proud to sponsor the HSBC Family Section. HSBC salutes the MAAC and today's families in attendance. Young Saint fan, even younger Saint fan.
They start playing quick early here in Siena.
Gunta Boschko with big numbers already. She scored 7 of the first 9 to push the Saints out in front by 5. And a double dribble on Tiana Sears.
And Sears is one of those freshmen that Coach Benelli is just so high on. She had such a good tournament, and she is really going to be a great one for St. Peter's. Coach Benelli says about her that she is the very best player he has ever recruited and has come to St. Peter's as a freshman post player. That's quite a compliment from a man that has done as well as he's done and has had such great players in the program.
Turnover. St. Peter's, decent numbers. And that time, Phillip got caught up. She was going to try to bounce it across the perimeter, and she traveled.
Well, her numbers really weren't in favor either. Siena really made a nice transition on defense. They had 3 players. She probably would have been better served to have pulled it out and wait for teammates to catch up with her. Saints
have already turned it over twice. Meanwhile, St. Peter's turned it over 4 times. Both teams a little bit tight. Here's Anderson. Kraft back to the act.
What a nice addition Kraft has been to the Siena team. The junior college player from Mitchell College coming to Siena this year, New Yorker, who has come home. And she is, if you look at her, she's strong on the boards and she's quick and she's tough. But she gives Siena another look at the guard. It takes some pressure off Anderson and allows someone else to do some ball handling. And I think she's one of the reasons that their running game has gotten into a little bit faster pace than perhaps it was in the past.
Tiana Sears just picked up her first foul of the ball game. And coming in and checking in now is Kim McDonough. What a wonderful story. She graduated St. Peter's in 3 years' time, where it normally takes people 4 years. And now she's a graduate student. She hurt herself a couple seasons back. She actually has another year of eligibility coming back. She'll make that decision after this season. A GPA of 4.0.
Well, she was a spectacular high school player. Just spectacular.
Chrissy Lolliger finding Kraft off the back cut. Lolliger fresh into the game, and the Saints have grabbed a lead of 7.
And Coach Benelli wants to stop the bleeding quickly. I think he feels that if you spot Siena 10 points, I'm not sure you can make them up. You know, you talk about McDonough and how good she was in high school. She still holds the male and female record as the all-time leading scorer. Now we take a look here at Boschko on a replay, posting up again. Seaton's got to play her a little bit closer. Anderson finding her on the cut, lays it up with the left hand. This kid can just do it all. And from the outside, if you give her daylight, she got hammered a little bit by Seton, but just gets up and plays some basketball.
Before tonight, these two teams had played one other time in a championship game. That was back in 1999 in Buffalo. St. Peter's won that game. Tight one, 64-62.
They've played well over the course of the last 10 or 12 games that they have played against one another. And Siena has gotten the better of them in the later parts of it. But you know, this St. Peter's team is a team of the future. They have some nice young talent, and they're returning a solid class. You talk about if McDonough does get her game together after that injury, she has a record 2,760 points in Hudson. It's the highest percent numbers in Hudson County basketball history.
That's she with the ball right now, wearing number 22 because her dad wore it in high school. And another throwaway here by the Peahens. They've given it up 5 times.
It's uncharacteristic because the Peahens only average 15 turnovers a ball game. But in part, remember, that's because of Sue Porter. Because when she's handling the basketball, she doesn't throw it away. With her sitting on the bench, we're seeing more and more turnovers.
Saints got here by knocking off Iona by 29, and then yesterday's semis beat Fairfield by 18. They've had a pretty easy route. Meanwhile, St. Peter's went against Loyola, won it by 14, and then yesterday had a tight one, low-scoring affair, as they beat Manhattan 54-50. Shot clock is down to 7 seconds, 6 off the game clock. Lolliger to establish inside for the runner. The clear by Harris. Lead out for Sears. In transition, they beat the Saints.
And 6'2", runs like the wind. Right in the middle of the court, goes all the way down. Nice hands, good pass on Gonzalez's part.
Anderson running it at the point as a sophomore, started 30 times. Starting in her 59th straight game tonight. Lolliger for the three. Willis with a good seal. That's Lindsey Gonzalez bringing the ball up court out of Haverstraw, New York. Strong point guard. In fact, she's the backup, but she leads the team in assists. She had 85 in the regular season.
Coaches would kill to just have one of them. But to have the luxury of two, we know why St. Peter's has been so successful. So goes the point, so goes the game.
Harris for the shift. Beautiful dish that time for Sears.
And Harris has brought her game to another level. She's just bouncing enthusiastically on every play in the ball game. She wants a championship. She's been to the NC2A. She wants to get back.
Sears and Harris lead the way with 4 each for the Saints, or I should say for the Peahens. Boschko given a little bit of room by Harris. Looking to establish inside.
Well, you get two warriors going at one another, and I'll tell you what, they're not going to give each other a step or an edge. Now take a look at the St. Peter's offensive set. Harris comes in strong. What a nice dish to Sears inside, and she just lays it up and in. Harris can pass the ball. I'm not sure she gets enough accolades for her ability to pass, but boy, she's having a nice start. She's handled the ball real well. She's rebounded, and she's challenged Gunta inside.
Boschko entering play tonight, 1,345 career points. The amazing part of that, she's only played 3 years. She's a junior, back for another one.
Well, she has a legitimate chance at that 2,000 mark. I mean, if she continues at the pace and Siena continues playing more postseason games, this kid could do it.
Siena came in as the best shooting free throw unit in the history of the program, 77.2%, but they missed a couple here tonight.
I think the players are a little bit tight. I know that, they've been here before, but this is for the big dance. And I think the first half always is such that you play a little tentatively.
Gonzalez makes it a 13-10 deficit right now, her first 2 of the ball game.
And St. Peter's isn't going to go away. This is going to be a team that will challenge the Siena team tonight.
Martino into the lineup. And they're going the other way with the foul.
Yeah, I think that Gunta reached in and over on that possession, and as we said, you can't have Gunta on the bench for too many minutes because she's too big a presence. The 2 regular season games that they lost in the MAAC, Gunta averaged about 10 minutes in each contest. She got in foul trouble early at Loyola, and she was in foul trouble again in their second loss of the season. So you don't want her off the court for very long.
Willis that time got the step inside, drawing the foul.
You see it here. Willis makes a nice move, goes to the basket. Ansoni probably would have been a better serve just to let her alone. She really had no position. She's pleading with the official, as all good players do, but he's not going to take it back.
There's Willis cupping out on the first one.
Willis is a 76% foul shooter, so this St. Peter's team shoots 72% from the foul line. They get to the foul line, both teams ought to knock them down.
And Willis bangs that one. It's a 2-point game right now with the Saints holding on 13-11. Back with more of our championship action in the MAAC after this.
450 years of Jesuit tradition are woven into a Fairfield University education, an education characterized by academic excellence and service to the community. Fairfield's success is fostered by a caring faculty that knows their students as individuals. Located just an hour from New York City, Fairfield combines a park-like campus conducive to learning with the city's cultural and career advantages. Fairfield University, where education reflects the challenges and opportunities of a fast-changing world.
Got a tight one going on here at the Pepsi Arena in Albany. And MAAC Women's Championship game. It's a 2-point game right now. Saints leading it. Hey fans, the 2002 MAAC Hockey League Championship hits the ice March 14th and 16th at the College of Holy Cross Heart Center in Worcester, Massachusetts. All session passes are affordably priced at just $12. For ticket information, call 508-793-2573. Play ready to resume. Find out more about the MAAC Basketball Go Online website. Check out the conference at www.macsports.com. It's updated regularly and provides current information about your favorite MAAC teams and players.
On that play, I'll tell you what, Sonia was fortunate that she didn't get called for an offensive foul when she dribbled down there. You know, 6 feet tall, 6'2". Maybe you shouldn't be putting it down and taking it all the way to the hole. Maybe you pull up and take a little jump shot with it.
We've had 10 turnovers already in the ball game.
Very uncharacteristic of
St. Peter's
both teams.
with the 6 and the Saints with the 4.
Siena's going into a zone now, challenging St. Peter from the outside. I think they felt that they're making a little bit, we weren't doing a good job in help defense and certainly weren't rebounding well enough. This is a good move on Coach Costelli's part because St. Peter's has struggled a little bit against the zone.
Natalie Marquino wearing number 33. She had a career-high game against St. Peter's in the second game with 14 points. She banged all 4 of her shots, including a couple of three-pointers. Sharon Burgess had a great look.
You know, we've talked about Sharon Burgess a couple of times, saying that, you know, she gets such great position. Doesn't finish it off.
That time, the Peahens did.
Boy, they're bringing the ball right at the heart of Siena's defense. Siena is a little slow in getting back. It's no surprise McKissick and Bosco are coming back in.
And they got to go the other way once again.
Anderson,
control.
Yeah, Anderson pushed off. You saw her take a hand there, and we'll take another look at it. You see her as she comes through. She's got her hand. She wards her off with her hand to try to get some space, and Gonzalez did a great little acting job. Boy, that's acting 101. The official really fell for it, but she did make contact. I'm not sure enough contact to get the offensive call, but certainly in the official's eyes.
Well, you're a former head coach. Did you used to teach that? Part of your...
Yeah, well, part of it always is, you know, if you're going to take a charge, make sure the official sees it that way.
Saints have gotten back into the game, scoring 9 out of the last 10 points of the game. We're tied at 13. There's Porter. She can hit from deep.
Well, you know, she has struggled a little bit this past year, and Coach Brunelli talked about it last year, her struggling from the three-point line. But, boy, in yesterday's ball game, she went 3 for 3 coming in to start the second half. And I'll tell you what, she's starting the same way. You see it here. You give her a little daylight against the zone. She's very dangerous. You know, Burgess doesn't shift over in time, and you see nothing but net. She knows it. She holds her follow-throughs, got that strut going back and saying, you know, hey, I'm going to do it again to give me that space.
You know, you see that yellow stripe there? She was in between the yellow and the green stripe. That yellow stripe is an NBA.
Right, you know, so you're talking, she's going 20, 21 feet from the basket and not in hesitation at all. She can light it up if you give her, and she's been on a little bit of a streak. She really is a player, Coach Granelli feels, knowing that this is her last, perhaps her last few ball games, whether she gets to the NC2As because of a large bid or because of a championship game. She wants this season to be extended. She wants another ring.
Out front to Anderson. Again, the winner goes to the NCAAs and start in just about 10 days' time. Long toss for McKissick. McKissick now for 3. Jansone battling in there, but good position by Seton.
And Mary McKissick has had a quiet tournament. She's not the quiet type ball player. And I've been just waiting for her to emerge because she has got such great tools.
Knifing inside is Harris. McGonigal into the lineup. Erica Anderson now. 5'8" junior out of northeastern Massachusetts. Boschko back into the lineup, picked up that early foul. St. Peter's leads by 3 as Kraft trying to cut into that a little bit. Foul from behind on Willis.
You know, I'll tell you, last night's game, you watched Siena took player after player to the glass on the dribble. You see her here. Kraft was so effective last evening doing. She's the only player tonight that we've seen drive with any authority to the basket. Boy, she does that. She's going to get to the foul line. Again, good foul shooters on this team. I think Siena has to pick up its pace a little bit, has to stop putting the ball down against this St. Peter's team. I think that St. Peter's is playing the pace of the game that they want and not the scoring kind of edge that Siena has coming into the game. You can't play St. Peter's game. They're better at it than you are.
We talked about it at the top. We've got to be a war inside, but so far right now, we're in the battle inside St. Peter's, and they've been just going to the iron.
They're going to the iron, and the guards have really gotten, St. Peter's guards have gotten the better of the Siena guards.
Harris got tripped a little bit.
And, you know, again, you see good defense. You see Kraft step in and take a charge. We'll take another look at it. Felicia Harris beats Gunta off the dribble. Kraft stands up tall, hit me. I mean, she just says hit me. She had no place to go, and nice job on her part. Official made a good call.
Yeah, Harris basically fell over her own feet and then plowed into the defender.
Yeah, she didn't have very much body control on that move, and Kraft just took the hit.
Harris with 2 fouls now in the ball game. Knocked out of bounds, so Harris will sit next to Mike Minnelli. 16-14, St. Peter's leading. They went on a 12-1 run to get back into this one.
They're really playing very good perimeter defense, and they're forcing Siena away from the basket.
Shot clock down to 6. That's a hard foul. As McDonough that time got her money's worth on that foul, knocking down Anderson. First one on McDonough. Anderson at the free throw line.
And again, Anderson's going to the glass on the dribble, gets him to the foul line each time.
Going into the game, Anderson had hit 24 of her last 26 free throw attempts. Third-team all-conference player. She had 17 points against Fairfield yesterday with 6 assists and just 1 turnover and played those 39 minutes. In fact, she's played 90% of the minutes this year for the Saints.
Well, she's not coming off the court here either. I mean, it's obvious that Gina Castelli trusts her with the basketball more than she trusts any of her other guards. And I'll tell you what, she has good reason to.
Deadlocked at 16 with 8:40 left in the ball game. Gonzalez dribbled into the trap.
And Siena just full court pressing now, giving him a different look. Playing a little bit of a 2-1-2 full court press back into a player-player.
That's Porter. She's already hit one from deep.
You know, both teams can go big when Seton and Sears are in together. You see McGonigal and Gunta staying in against them.
Gonzalez with her 2nd assist of the ball game.
But I don't think that McGonigal can stay with either Seton or Sears, and certainly not Seton. She's way too quick for her.
I don't know if Sears got a little piece of that. Sears had 5 blocks as well as Seton yesterday, and Harris had another team 11 blocks against Fairfield.
What a presence, and they'd get the opportunity to play with each other for 2 more for this season and another.
There's Gonzalez. McGonigal for the clear. He's a big presence inside for Kraft on a lead.
Nice pass. Anderson keeps her head up, looks, Kraft calls for the ball.
Tied once again, this time at 18. There's Porter for 3.
And this is more of Siena's pace. Siena wants to run it up and down.
Once again, the reset with Lindsey Gonzalez. Senior year in high school, she was named the Rockland County Player of the Year. She's from Haberstall, New York. For Sears on the lead. Gonzalez giving him a real lift off the bench.
Well, you know, Gunta has to have some help because she gives an inch or two to Sears, and I think that Sears really has better ups than Gunta does. So someone, especially McGonigal, has to help her so that she can't get beat on the log.
Moshko, that time a bit short. 3-on-2 for St. Peter's. The Warriors on the glass. And a foul.
3 offensive rebounds, and then McGonigal catches a piece of Sears, Seton as she goes up. Yeah, right now, you know, when you have that combination, you have 00 and 44 in together, I think that that's a really hard matchup for any team. Not so much for Siena's size, but I'm not sure they're near as quick in the post as St. Peter's is. You have Seton who is lightning quick, and you have Sears that runs the court as if she's a point guard.
Seton on the year, knocking down 75% of her free throws. That one wouldn't go. McGonigal is back out. Jansoni is checked back in.
Well, Jansoni will be a little better matchup from Seton, but the quickness factor certainly goes to Seton's favor.
6 minutes and 40 seconds left here in the first half. 21-18, St. Peter's. We'll be back. Peahens of St. Peter's going for their 9th MAAC championship right now. Lead at 21-18. Fans don't miss the 2002 MAAC Golf Championship at Disney's Wide World of Sports in Orlando, Florida, April 25th through the 28th. For spectator packages, contact Anthony Travel at 1-800-736-6377 or go to www.anthonytravel.com.
We've just had a quick look at stats, and St. Peter's is shooting 52% from the floor. They keep that percentage up, they will be difficult to stay with.
Shot only 41% during the regular season.
And they're also really crushing.
Block number 1 for Seton.
They're crushing Siena on the boards. They've got them 14-7, and Siena has been able to just muster one offensive board the entire almost 14 minutes of the first half. What a block by Siena. Whoa. Big timer, just a big timer.
Peahens lead by 3 with the ball. Harris for 3.
And Siena is just screaming for the basketball.
That's Sears with that 3, yes, knocking it down from deep. Anderson trying to hold on to it. Jansone, that's a big answer right there.
Gunta just saw her out of the corner of her eye and was able to deliver the ball right where Jansone can deliver a shot.
Gonzalez to bring it across. Saints looking for their 25th win overall.
It looks as if McKissick may have held Gonzalez as she was making a cut through the key, and the official picked it up on the help side.
7th one called, and it's a 1-on-1 situation.
These teams, as we said earlier, they're good foul shooting teams. St. Peter's hasn't shot well up to this juncture, only shooting 50%, but boy, you can't keep them at the line and expect that they're not going to answer with some shots. Seton, good hand for Seton, boy. She did a great job out there. Defensively active, asking for the ball, making swats at it, really altering the play of Jansone.
And Gonzalez with another one. 5:28 left here in the first half, 26-20. Peahens.
The Peahens have brought their A game. They really have. They're not here wanting to finish at second. That's for certain.
First time the Saints have really been tested in the playoffs.
Yeah, they've posted through and averaging. I think the average percentages that they've played, they've beaten their opponent by 23 points. I think you mentioned that's a whole lot of points to come through a tournament.
That clear was made by a new player into the game, Anna Bartho. She didn't play the other day in her first action here in the finals.
He's played a couple of players, both Barthold and McDonough, that haven't played before tonight. So, he trusts his bench.
And he knows 3 in 3 days. He's got to exercise that bench a little bit. Another block.
And they're responding. Gunta on the cut did a really fine job on the block. And, these kids can block shots. They can rebound. They can pass. We have some players. We have some players on this court.
Seton right back into the lineup. Too many players on the floor as Barthold refused to leave.
Well, that's one way to beat him. Put a 6th player on. She didn't want to leave. Okay, get off the court. My turn.
Porter's got it. Look at this, because there was 2 on the shot clock on the release.
Well, what great presence of mind. I've said that who's responsible for letting a player know that what the clock is? The player inbounding must tell the players that are on the court that they've got 2 seconds or so. And, it's great communication. Supor took a bad shot, but it's better than no shot.
Boschko coming off the screen for the feed inside. Jansone.
Well, Jansone, talk about a set of hands. I'll tell you, Seton had her hands on her wrists, and Jansone was able to hold on to it.
Gonzalez so quick, saw the trap coming up, reverse spin. 4:12 left here in the first half, 26-22, Peahens.
And they've got a very small backcourt with Phillips, Gonzalez, and Porter out there, but boy, they've got their 2 tall trees inside.
Seton, rimming in. Up to a 6-point advantage once again. Jansone, 2 for 2 in her last 2 shots.
Jansone is hitting some shots, but they're 12-footers. Seton obviously has made Jansone adjust her game, and what it does, if Jansone misses those shots, Dean, no one's on the offensive glass, and Seton is able to dominate.
Gonzalez flirting with danger that time. She gets close to that trap, but somehow gets out of it.
She does. She has a good handle. It's, the ball goes and her hand goes with it.
McKissick double team as Kraft released, but they didn't see her. Anderson looking for an alley. Block.
Well, you know, they took it to the heart of the defense again. And, you know, anytime you take it to the heart of defense, then you ask them to pick you up. Anderson takes it to the middle of the court. Now, the decision is if you go all the way, Porter's got to get there. Now, Porter probably was better served at letting Sears step in because Sears had a better timing in it. But Porter wanted to step in and take it and wasn't able to get their feet in time. Anderson heads up play going in the middle of the court with a basketball.
Both teams now with 7 fouls, and that's the first one called against Sue Porter. Anderson's been to the line quite a few times here in the ball game already. That's her third taken. Mentioned what a streak coming in, hitting 24 of her last 26, so she's 3 for 3 tonight. Seton leaves again, and Barthold's back in with McDonough.
And Anderson has not been off the court. She is playing. She's going to play if she needs to play 40 minutes, I think she'll do that. Coach Castelli trusts that she can.
Anderson bangs 2. 3:07 left here in the first half. 2-point lead for the Peahens. Jansone cutting into that. Close one going on here at the Pepsi Arena in Albany. St. Peter's holding on to a 2-point lead, 28-26.
And you take a look at what Siena is trying to do with the basketball. Bring the ball to the middle of the court, make the defense converge, and kick it back out for a short jumper. Get the ball inside to Jansone. She'll rip it from Seton's hands. And again, Kraft goes down and finds Jansone from the side. Jansone has hit 3 straight shots and has put the Saints back within 2 at the 3-minute mark, less than the half.
St. Peter's out rebounding the Siena team 18-8. You see the points in the paint. Dominated here by the Peahens.
And who would have thought that to start the game, that Siena would be silent inside, and they've really been silent inside. Most of what they've gotten from the outside.
Under 3 left here in the first half. The launch by McDonough. Going down to get it, Boschko.
And Grinelli is screaming for the walk.
Sometimes you get it called, sometimes you don't on that turnover.
Well, you know, when you roll to the ground, you'd have to think maybe that your pivot foot isn't under you. So I think he has just cause to be a little upset with the call.
Especially when you roll from one side to the other.
And you're doing an absolute forward roll as if you were in gymnastics, sure. You got Siena here playing a little bit of a matchup. Anderson is giving them the look from the top, really challenging Phillip, who doesn't take any outside shots.
This one, the charm from McDonough, just missed from the exact same spot.
Well, McDonough will put the ball up. Anyone who scores 2,700 points in high school is not gun shy, so I would find her if I were Kraft.
Boschko, quiet night so far, forcing that one.
They're just not getting good position offensively. And, you know, part of it is because Sears and Seton have such presence in the middle that they have to alter shots. And they have size, but they also have the ability to reject.
Barthold also has given them some presence inside.
Yeah, she sure has. You know, she stands 6 feet tall, so they've gone and been very successful with this big lineup.
Another 3 by McDonough. Trailed down by Kraft. Saints are down by 5 with 1:20 left in the first half. Jansone missed her first shot since that time. She's hit her last 3 in a row. Boschko on the double team.
Yeah, they're just doubling big time on her. They've got Sears, and, you know, Gunther was fortunate. She just tossed it out of that pack.
Here's Kraft.
She was so free that she used 2 hands on the basketball. You saw the double dribble. She started out on the left. All she had to do was continue and go all the way through, and she had daylight.
They ran themselves down on the shot clock off that double team on Boschko.
St. Peter's defense has really stifled the Saints. They're not doing a good job getting open in the perimeter, and that's where all the offense begins.
Boschko struggling herself. Sears kept alive by Barthold. The home crowd doesn't like it.
Yeah, they're looking for the over-the-back call, and I'll tell you, Barthold did a nice job keeping it alive.
Porter coming for 3. And an over-the-back on Barthold.
You can do it once, but you can't do it twice, and you can't do it to the official that's on the same side of the court and has been standing in the same place. The crowd won't let you, and he was able to see it then, and now we've got another trip to the foul line for the Saints.
Saints are used to close games in the title game up in Buffalo last year. They won just by 2. Obviously, you were involved with that one, calling that game. 70-68. They beat a very veteran Stag team.
Well, you know, I'll tell you, that was one of the better games in women's basketball. It was not determined until the last 6 seconds. Yansoni, as I remember, was MVP of the tournament. She had a killer tournament. And Fairfield had a chance to win the game. This shot just fell short. So they've been in close games all year. I think one of the questions that the reporters asked in the press room last night after the Saints win was, you know, Ginny, you haven't played in many close games in the tournament. Do you think that'll hurt your team? And she said, hey, you haven't seen our schedule. Look at all the close games that we've played during the year. We've learned enough. So she feels her team can play in close games and is fine.
A 3 notched by Gonzalez with 5 on the shot clock in the waning seconds here in the first half. Saints need to get the shot up in 3 seconds. And they will dribble out the clock. Little momentum to the locker room for the Peahens. 34-26 after 20. As the Saints are down here at home. Back with our halftime after this on the MAAC Television Network. Well, the number 1 seeded Saints of Siena currently down here at home to the Peahens of St. Peter's, 34-26 at halftime. And welcome back, everybody. I'm Dean Darling along with Sharon Abadi. Sharon's involved with the GHI Girls in the Game promotion that also the MAAC is involved with. And Sharon, give us a little definition of the program.
Well, this program's been going on for a number of years in the MAAC, but this is the first year we got a sponsor, Group Health Incorporated. It's a title sponsor of the Girls in the Game program. It's a season-long program that tries to get girls motivated, interested, and excited about women's sports. We started back in January with the tip-off luncheon. We had 2 great events at Siena. We had a meet and greet with the players. We had a clinic. And today our program was highlighted at the Women's Championships with Michelle Edwards from the Seattle Storm. She came to speak to the area girls that came.
Yeah, I got a chance to listen to her speech, and she was talking how to be involved as a youngster and then move on in your older years. And there's always a goal to reach like hers. She eventually reached the pros.
Exactly. She did a great job today. She started off with giving a little bit of a background on her, where she was involved in sports. And then the neat thing she did was she let the girls ask her a lot of questions. And they had a range of questions, like from how you get started, why do you like these sports? And it was just I think it was a great opportunity for young children to see what you can become if you work at it hard enough. And she worked her way up, and she's now in WNBA.
How impressed were the girls, the youngsters, when they got to see a star in the NBA?
They're so excited. And I think as a girl, as a female who's involved in sports growing up, you really need role models. And Michelle could be a role model for these girls that, you know, if you work hard, you can get to her level. They were just so excited to get an autograph from her, just to ask her questions. So I think it's a great program, and we had over 200 kids join this year. So
seems like a great marriage between the MAAC and the GHI Girls in the Game program.
Yes, we were very lucky to have a sponsor this year because it allowed us to get a little bit more promotion of the program. And Group Health Incorporated, they joined us this year. And I think we reached a lot more people because we did have that sponsor title with the program. And so for MAAC, we appreciate their help this year.
Well, thank you for coming on and explaining to us.
Thank you for having me here today.
Program manager from the GHI Girls in the Game program. At halftime right now, the number 1 seed Siena is trailing by 8 to the Peahens of St. Peter.
This game is brought to you in part by the New York Lottery. New York Lotto gives you 2 games for $1, so play today. Hey, you never know. By Continental Airlines. Work hard, fly right. Ryder Trucks, logistics and transportation solutions worldwide. And by I Love New York. Show your love for New York State.
Halftime of our championship game, and right now St. Peter's leading over Siena 34-26. And in the game, St. Peter's jumped out quick. Basho got off to the early start, scored 7 of the first 9. They led by 8. Finally, St. Peter's, and a good timeout was called as well by Grinelli. Then St. Peter's really got it going.
They brought their A game. I mean, St. Peter's, it's March. It's A play time. They have just outplayed Siena from start to finish. They've outshot them from the floor. They have crushed them on the boards. And they have played the pace and kept the game in the 60s. They have done everything they need to do to upset the Siena team.
I thought early that St. Peter's was a little bit reluctant to go inside. Then when they got the presence inside, they turned the game.
Well, Seton and Sears together, two tall trees. They go at you. They defensively have altered all of Jansoni's and Gunza's shots. They've got to do some adjusting. The Siena team has to get back to playing its style of basketball. It is playing St. Peter's basketball right now. St. Peter's has been hard on the perimeter, forcing Siena away from the basket, making everything one or two steps further than they're accustomed to. They've got to make some adjustments. If Siena is going to be pushed out that far, it has to talk about going backdoor now. Let St. Peter's pay. Go down the heart of the defense, score some layups. Unless this changes and Siena gets back to playing their game, then St. Peter's has another championship.
Well, this has been a 4-day event as we take a look now at some of the scores brought to you by HSBC. It started on Thursday with the play-in round, and there were two upsets there. And really the only other upset was number 5 Fairfield beating number 4 Canisius. And really, in a lot of people's eyes, that's not an upset.
No, Fairfield had taken Canisius twice during the regular season. First time crushed them, second time 4-point ball game. Come back here, it's an overtime game. Fairfield's been in this position before. You knew that they were a Final Four tournament team and that they might get back. Canisius had a terrific season. Congratulations to Canisius. But Fairfield really had tournament experience. And then you have the 4 teams that have been in the tournament in the past. You have Manhattan, the newcomer, who's playing such great basketball. Rosalie Mason, is she not a big timer? I mean, it's going to be so much fun to watch this kid go. And you take a look at your brackets now. You have Siena, perennial power, there last year, back again. Fairfield matchup, championship game last year, that's what we saw. And then you have Manhattan and St. Peter's. And Manhattan-St. Peter's, what a great ball game. 4-point ball game, could have gone either way, sending the 2 best seeds to where they should be.
Our bracket's brought to you by GHI. 34-26, the Saints are down here at home to the Peahens. Back with more of our halftime after this. Championship game, the women's bracket here in MAAC play, brought to you by HSBC. And an 8-point lead right now for the Peahens. We take a look at the team numbers from this one. And one of the differences in the game, 3-point field goals. 3 more scored by St. Peter's, 4 of 10. And the Saints just 1 of 4. And that plays a factor when it's an 8-point game right now in favor of the Peahens. Neither team really lighting it up on free throws. Rebounds, the war being won right now inside by the Peahens. And points in the paint as well. Stats brought to you by Coach USA. Coming back with more of our halftime, and after this, we'll return to the MAAC Television Network. Back here at the Pepsi Arena in Albany, New York. Peahens currently lead on the home floor of the Saints by 8.
And we take a quick look at these highlights. You see right from the start, Gunter Basco being told by Seton, you are not taking shots uncontested, you'll pay the price. But Gunter passing the ball very well. Sony knocking down a couple from the side. On the other end, you have the Peahens running. Sears in the middle of the court, the freshman is doing it all. And you have Seton, the other presence, the big player inside, catching the ball 10 feet from the basket, making good on it. Those 2 players, Sears and Seton, have been the difference. They have owned the boards, they have altered Siena's inside game.
And the other point is that Felicia Harris is having an ordinary game with just 4 points.
Well, Felicia Harris started the game off in a blaze of glory and just knows now what she needs to do to have her team win. She's that kind of a player.
Saints off to the early start here in the second half. This is Phillip. Now for Harris. Dipping down for Sears. Big answer there with 5 on the shot clock.
Well, I mentioned early on that Gunter needs help on Sears. That help has to be a bigger presence than a small guard Kraft coming over. She needs another forward in the low block to help her out.
Blasco's had a tough night here. She scored early, but now only hitting 3 of 8 from the field.
She knows that she's not liking her own play, but I'll tell you, Seton is the one that has altered her play. Someone 6'2" defending you who can smack it right back down at you alters the way that you shoot the basketball. Good attempt there by Phillip to save the ball. What would worry me most as the Siena coach would be that we're playing the game at their pace. They're keeping the game at arm's length because of the way that we're playing. What are we doing as a team to get it back?
Back on the perimeter to reset.
The
Saints
rebounding.
trailing at halftime here by 8, have trailed 7 times this year and only won 4 of them.
Well, I'll tell you what. Offensive rebounds. Siena, 1 for the ball game. You saw a perfect example then, not being able to pull it down. Defensively, not doing much better job.
Natasha Phillip picking up for throwing an elbow. And Gonzalez back in. Gave Grinelli good minutes off the bench there in the first half. She had 12 minutes, scored 7 points, and had 5 dish outs.
Well, Gonzalez and Porter together can stop the drive a little bit more effectively than perhaps Willis can.
Here's Anderson for the 3. Well, they only hit 1 in that first half. And it's sliced down to a 5-point deficit. Siena trailed in last year's championship game to the Stags at halftime by 7 and came back and won it by 2. When you look at the other side of the coin, St. Peter's is undefeated when they have the lead at the break. Perfect 19-0.
Well, you know, St. Peter's is just, when they play with a sense of urgency, they are tough to beat.
Good presence defensively inside that time as Johnston gets kicked out to the foul line.
Well, there's some bodies flying there. I mean, this is game. They don't want, no one's going to give it up easy. Gunther's willing to hit the floor. Seaton's hitting the floor. And anytime you have a player that's 6'2" and 6 feet tall that are going after loose balls, well, you've done your job as a coach.
Toss inside to Seaton, banging on Boschko. Seaton's used to big game pressures, having played in Kentucky for 2 years.
And playing in the SEC, she's played against some big trees herself.
Johnson for the fade, and it faded, it didn't hit the rim.
Well, Johnson had to sit out all but 3 or 4 minutes in the first half. She picked up 2, and Johnson does a good job on the board. She plays big. I'm not sure she's a good matchup for Felicia Harris. I think Felicia Harris is a little too quick for her.
Harris reverses, and a 3-second violation.
That was a good job defensively in the Siena. They doubled her down and forced Harris to step away.
And coming in for the first time tonight is Lauren Serber, and again Castelli goes to the bench.
Well, Ms. Kissick, I don't think Mary has played near as explosively as her abilities speak to, and you know, she's got to find the answer because they need her out there. They need her presence.
That's Johnston. Celia mentioned she got into early foul trouble with the 2. Boschko with the turn. 3-point lead right now for the Peahens. You knew things would get tight eventually.
Oh, they've got too many good players for them to sit down and not play back hard.
Picked up on the perimeter by Anderson, and the crowd now enthused. And that will play into the favor of the Saints. Kraft retrieves. 15 on the shot clock, still putting a time.
Gonzalez is just all over Kraft, really challenging her with the basket.
Boschko with a little spin. Back to the act.
You know, even when Boschko makes her move, she doesn't get a clear shot at the hoop because of all the hands of St. Peter's that surround her.
Came down a bit tenderly on that ankle.
You take a look. She comes up strong, and Sears has got a hand on it. You've got Willis who comes over, and she's being hammered when she goes up there. They're not going to let her take easy shots. I think the message was very clear on the first shot of the game. When Seton knocked her at the three-point line, kind of looked at her and said, honey, you're not going to hit today. So, and Boschko now has to just step up her own game, and believe me, this kid's capable of it. So I don't think she'll be silent for much longer.
2 fouls apiece on Sears, Willis, and Harris for the Peahens. We've got a 1-point ball game.
And this is what we expect tonight. You see Gonzalez is coming down and telling everybody, look, settle, settle, settle. We don't want to get into a running game. Let's get into control again. Now, I'll tell you what, Seton will be back out in just a few minutes because those tall trees together have been their best combination. When they're out there together, Siena's not been able to stop it.
What a spin by Spears, reversing inside the interior.
The freshman we're going to hear about her for the next 3 years, boy. What a player.
Bosco having problems with Gonzalez, and will stay down to the St. end. 15:45 left here in the second half. Saints on a nice 7-0 run. 38-35. St. Peter.
I know most of you just graduated high school last year, or maybe you've been working for a while, seen some things, done some things, but nothing has prepared you for what's going to happen now. We're going to set goals for each of you, way up here, way up here, and then we're going to help you exceed them, believe it. And when finished, you're going to have not just a degree, you'll be a different person, a better person. Welcome to Iona.
Aspire, achieve. Iona. Call Iona College at 1-800-231-IONA.
And we're back here at 15:45 mark, 38-35. St. Peter's won a 7-0 run, and then Siena got one back in the scoring column.
Well, you know, Siena has showed moments of its greatness, but it hasn't had a real run here. They're 3 for 5 as they start. Now, the minute we say this, we see how excited they are. Now they're beginning to bring emotion to the table, and when they're emotion and they play with emotion, you see it happen. You know, you see the pass in, and take a look. You know, I think that Sears and Porter really fell asleep too, because it was Porter's responsibility to come back and to help her out a little bit.
Bosco now starting to establish a little bit. They want to ride her big shoulders here in the final 15 minutes.
I love her temperament. You know, she just doesn't, she doesn't fluster. You can hit her, you can beat her, and she's still going to get up and just play basketball.
Tied again, this time at 38. Willis on Serber, and a reach called on Serber. It'll be a two-shot foul.
And Serber's just not quick enough. She doesn't have the lateral speed that is needed to stop a Willis. You know, and alertly, you see Willis take it to the basket. You know, Serber probably should have just stepped off and you know, hey, if she gets it in, she gets it in. She doesn't, well, you know, I'm not going to foul her.
Willis making that one. You know, the number 2 seed has been good to St. Peter's. They've won 4 postseason MAAC championships. As the number 2 seed over the last 10 years, that man right there directing the attack. They won in 92, 93, 99, and in 2000. So not a bad position to come in as number 2 here this year.
No, they come in as the underdog, you know, everybody thinking this is Siena's game to take, and they just step up.
Johnson was having problems turning the corner, and she walked.
Well, you know, I'll tell you, though, is the number 2 seed, my thought on postseason play for both these teams is this. If Mike Brunelli's team wins today, I don't know if Siena will get an NC2A bid. I do believe they'll get a WNIT bid, hands down, and perhaps even host it here. But if St. Peter's was to finish 2, Siena take 1, I think they have a very real chance of getting to the NC2As as a 2 seed. Their schedule in the early part of the year, Texas Tech, Arizona State, and they played some great basketball on that stretch, could get them there. The MAAC sent 2 teams last year, the number 1 and 2. If St. Peter's comes into, I think that they can both go. If Siena comes into their schedule just not tough enough, maybe there'll be a bubble team, but they'll certainly get a WNIT bid.
The last reported RPI rating for the Saints, number 64, and usually, because of last year's history, Fairfield was in the low 40s when they got the outright bid.
Absolutely. Fairfield had some terrific, if you look at this right now, you have Siena at 54 and you have St. Peter's at 42. So in the MAAC itself is at 17. St. Peter's would stand a much better chance getting to the at-large bid than the Siena might.
And how good is that for the conference to send 2 teams to the big dance? Off the mark by Gonzalez.
That's one of the first misses we've seen on St. Peter's driving to the basket.
Anderson pushing tempo. Beautiful rejection by Sears.
Well, you know, that gets a shooter to think twice before you light it up, and that's what they did against Bosco early on. Bosco was stepping away, and I'll tell you what, shooters just got to let this fly.
That's a 2-pointer if it goes.
And still not coming up with any offensive rebounds.
Going inside, hammering it home is Willis picking up the foul.
And that was just frustration on Bosco's part. You see her there, she slaps her hand together, you know, wanting to hit herself, like just knowing she had no shot. Willis comes down, she is on fire. Bosco, again, hammers her. If you're going to hit someone, make sure you get a piece of the ball. You don't want to turn it into a 3-point play.
number 2 on Boschko as Johnson leaves. And here's Layla Willis. Great story on her. Third-year player. Backup last year. Getting a lot more time as a starter this year. Jansone battling there along with Sears.
And Sears just a little quicker to the basketball.
Harris quiet so far in the ball game. Rolled it home in a foul.
And Gunter is frustrated now. If you we'll take if we can another look here. If you see, he goes right across here. Gunter gets beat. She needs help. Take a look here. Bang here. Sony, get off that block. Come in, step in, and take the charge. You're a big girl. You can't let that happen.
Boschko picks up 2 quick fouls in about 15 seconds time, and now she goes and sits down at the far end of the same bench.
I'll tell you what. This kid isn't going to sit for very long, because if she's not in by the 10-minute mark, I'm not sure that St. Peter's wouldn't have pulled this too far away from where they can get back into it.
Peahens have extended by 7 with still plenty of time on the clock. Anderson hawked all the way down by Gonzalez. Last touch out of bounds by Jansone. Key players like Willis and Gonzalez have really stepped up for Mike Grinelli.
And again, wisely, Gonzalez calling her 5-play. Big player, get yourself inside. That's what that means. They're going to go out to the wing. You can see Sears set up in the low block. They'll run a couple of screens on the other side, but they're really looking for Sears.
Clear out for Harris. And it goes the other way.
And I'll tell you what, Siena can't find a board. And we're talking about a great rebounding team against a very good St. Peter's rebounding team, and St. Peter's, boy, is getting the edge here.
Gonzalez again on top of Anderson. Boschko remains out with the foul problems. Jansone against Sears, ducking up. Anderson looked like she was mugged on the way up. Peahens ball.
And they don't like the crowd here. You know, the crowd doesn't like that call. They thought that it should have gone the other way. And, you know, I'll tell you what. St. Peter's players are asking, hey, yell, yell, yell. Look at this. You see it here. See Anderson go up. I think she created contact. You know, Willis stepped in there, did what she could, did a nice job of it.
Peahens do not seem to be rattled at all by the hometown crowd here at the Pepsi Arena.
Well, I just think that, you know, they've been here so many times. This is like, they're treating this as if it's at their home court.
They're 3-0 in this building in championship games.
And they're feeling good about it.
And it's the first time Saints have ever been to the championship tilt here at home. And a timeout called by Coach Castelli of the Saints. She looks concerned. She should be. Her team is down by 9.
Well, I think, too, that she's got to get Jansone, she's got to get Gunter back in the ball game. You have to ride your horse. So she's got 3 fouls. You got 12 minutes to play. This is a big one. Get her out here. Now you take here. If you're going to play some defense, boy, you have got to see where the basketball is. Now you see Gonzalez takes the ball. She takes the drive to the basket here. Jansone again does not come over and cut the lane off. I'll tell you what, she is a big presence. If she would come from block to block or from middle to side on defense, then I think she'd get Gonzalez, even if she hits her just once really good. Okay, she's going to come in with a little bit of hesitation. Nobody's hesitating on St. Peter's right now, Dean. They're going right to the basket. Now, I don't want to hurt them, but I want you to hit them. You know?
Yeah, rough them up a little bit.
There you go.
The winner of the New York Lottery MAAC Scholar Athlete Award is Mary Kasich, a senior from Manhattan College, an exercise science, sports medicine major with a 3.60 GPA from Howard Beach, New York. The New York Lottery will provide new computers to Kasich's elementary school. The award is based on GPA, community participation, and good sportsmanship. The New York Lottery, supporting education since 1967, salutes Kasich for her achievements.
Siena has 1 offensive rebound in this entire game. St. Peter's has 10. Key to the game. You had to rebound Siena. You have to come out here both on the offensive and defensive boards. Don't allow St. Peter's to dominate. St. Peter's is dominating.
Off the inbound, the ball hit the sideline on the bounce.
Yeah, Jansone bounced the ball on the sideline. She's the official. is not even going to discuss. He's going to give it and step away.
It'll be an inbound for the Peahens.
And they've got to keep their focus right now. Siena can't get into what the officials are doing. She just has to make certain that their team takes care of the basketball, does a good job on defense. Yansoni's got to keep her feet moving in that middle. She got beat a couple of times on drives.
Largest lead of the game for St. Peter's, and they're making it more.
And we're talking about help. There has been no help from the Siena forwards or guards to the players in the post.
Double-digit lead now. Laliger with the ball out on the perimeter. Again, Boschko remains on the bench with the 3 fouls. Serber running hard inside.
Well, Yansoni almost got in her way. And, you know, Yansoni's got to be more active right now. She is such a great presence inside. She gets good position, but you know what? Sturber comes over, and Yansoni at that point should have just moved and cleared out. There is no way she shouldn't have gotten in the way. It would have forced one or two things. It would have forced the defense to either collapse on Sturber or for the defense to go back with Yansoni. And if it hadn't gone back with Yansoni, boy, she's free on the other block.
Serber, an excellent all-state soccer player out on the island a couple of years ago. Just a freshman on this year's team. Actually tore an ACL last January in high school and wasn't able to finish her high school basketball career.
Well, you know, that means she's back in a lineup, a college lineup, in less than a year's time. She's going to suffer with lateral movement.
Gonzalez for the runner.
Where's the help? Where is the help? Someone help against the drive. It's not happening in the zone. It's not happening play to play.
12-point lead, largest of the game for the Peahens here on the road. Back with more action here in the second half. St. Peter's leading here at Albany against the hometown Saints, 51-39. The MAAC Women's Player of the Year, Gunta Boschko, junior forward from Siena. The problem right now, that lady right there is in foul problems. She picked up 3 early into the second half, and she has been seated on the bench for the last 4 or 5 minutes. And the MAAC Women Rookie of the Year, Itayana Sears, a freshman forward from St. Peter's College.
And Sears has played a lot of minutes today, Dean. She's doing a great job defensively. She hasn't been a huge presence on the offense, but boy, well, actually, I take that back. She has 13 points on the offense in 20 minutes of play.
A lot of held balls in this one.
Stats tell the story here. 18 rebounds for Siena to 33 of St. Peter's. Boy, that's a giveaway. Now, St. Peter's shooting the ball not as well. I'm sorry, Siena not shooting the ball as well as they have usually shot it in the air. They average 42%. They're shooting just 38. St. Peter's is at a 45% clip right now. Boy, they feel good, and they're just letting it go.
Here's Phillip over Johnston. It's up to a 14-point advantage.
And with 10 minutes left, you've got to get Gunta back on the court. You can't let your best players sit on the bench here as this team, as St. Peter's makes its move.
8 tonight for Jansone. Gonzalez will take plenty of time off the clock. McDonough can hit from that range.
Wow. What a night to have a big game, huh?
Not bad for a lady that didn't play yesterday.
You know, she's that's her second three-point shot. She's 2 for 4 from three-point line. That's her 6th point of the ball game.
15-point lead now for the Peahens. Boschko is up coaching from the sideline. Over by Oliver, and it's in with 1.
Well, Siena doing what it did real well last night, which is going to the hole, trying to get fouled and get to the foul line. Well, take a look here. You see the move that Lawler makes. She gets her shoulder around, and then you see that she just powers it up and finishes it off. You see her here in a little bit better angle, going, getting it here. Now, help could have come over to stop, but it didn't, and Lawler ends up with an uncontested.
And a conventional three-point play off the foul that time of Kim McDonough. 9:42 left in the ballgame, 56-44, St. Peter's. Gonzalez out there along with Phillip. Down low, they set up with Harris. McDonough out on the wing. Also posting down low is Seton. For the cat and mouse game. Nice block by McKissick. Shot clock down to 4 seconds. She got it off in time.
And another offensive rebound. So just when you think the defense has done the job, they don't finish off. I'm not sure if Siena's just not boxing out or they're not quick enough when St. Peter's is using such quickness to get to the glass.
Their 11th offensive board here in the ballgame.
Now we know St. Peter's is a good rebounding team.
Rattled in by Harris.
And Harris just took it right to Yansoni, challenging her from the get-go on the dribble.
Biggest lead at one point was 15. Now it's 58-44.
And Gunja's coming back in. They need some offensive firepower.
You see the numbers there on the offensive putbacks.
I think we have a hold here. Yeah, it's on Gonzalez. The hold is called, and Coach Pinelli is just urging her on, play defense with your feet. Just don't be grabbing.
Bosco re-enters at the 8:30 mark.
And they're gathering and chatting and make sure everyone's understanding what they're to do. And Anderson gets back to the foul line. Anderson has really been a stalwart to the foul line. You mentioned that early on. She's 4 for 4 tonight. She's a great foul shooter in the season, and she's put a lot of minutes in.
You saw the difference in rebounding, and when St. Peter's has the top rebounder in the game, they're 18-1. But the rebounds have been spread out evenly here tonight.
Well, everybody's getting to the boards when you look at it. You have Willis who has 5, you have Harris who has 5, you have Seton who has 4, and then everyone else, and Sears and McDonough have 4. So everyone else is 3 and 2, and you only have one player with 4 rebounds, and that's good Tabasco for the entire Siena group.
And the presence of mind there of Yansone to call for the timeout.
Well, it's not counted as an offensive rebound when you end up rebounding a foul shot, but I'll tell you what, it was one that they needed. If Anderson didn't hit, they had to get something.
The MAAC Women's Rookie of the Year is Tiana Sears, freshman forward out of St. Peter's College. And Tiana just had a tremendous year. Her career high 23 points against Ryder, averaging 6.6 rebounds a game, 11.8 points her average. And again, named Rookie of the Year. One game this year against Akron, she nailed from the field 10 of 12 shots.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is a freshman. This is what you talk about. In the Loyola game, to come to the tournament, she had 10 points and 5 rebounds. Last night, she had 9 points and 5 rebounds and 5 block shots. So she just does it all for them. And she is going to be, or is, a great one. And what a future. We're going to have a lot of fun watching her develop.
Some fans venturing out from Jersey City, New Jersey, which is the hometown of the Peahens. Bosco on the perimeter, forcing a bit, trailing down.
Seton is really doing a nice job defensively.
And Bosco missing.
She's got 3 inches on her. She's making Bosco alter her shot.
Out on the wing now for Sue Porter. Quiet night, but effective night. Seton with a spin. Anderson now will set it up at the point. Feed the post now for Yansone. Too much body that time by Seton.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. It was still a good move on Yansone's part. It stops the clock a little bit. She'll get to it at the foul line. And, and they move the basketball around. So if you see Anderson, she's going to take the ball from the point. She'll go off to the side. Guntu then will pass to the corner. Mary McKissick will get it in. And we've got late help coming down. If you move the basketball, good things happen. Yansone ends up freeing herself up, and Seton then has to try to block shots. Well, when you block, you might block half the time, but you're going to foul the other half as well.
The best free throw shooter on the team, Jansone, 40%, 84% banks too. Back with more after this.
Manhattan College, with 5 schools of arts, business, education, engineering, and science. Minutes from the cultural center and global marketplace that is New York City. Founded in the Lasallian tradition of excellence in teaching, respect for human dignity, and commitment for social justice. Manhattan College.
Dean Darling and Cecilia DeMarco back here for the finals of the 2002 HSBC Women's MAAC Tournament. Biggest lead in the ball game. St. Peter's enjoying at 1 point by 17, and currently they lead by 11.
Well, it's just been all St. Peter's. I mean, Siena has just been stifled.
Blair Cucciolo called against Gonzalez right in front of Martinovich.
Well, Gonzalez now, she's active. And you've got a look right here. Bang, right into it. Just kept her head down. Didn't look up the court. Coach Cornelli doesn't like what he sees right now. You see Lawliger step in, and just simple. Gonzalez should have taken the ball back to the middle of the court. She's frustrated with it, but it was a good call.
Mike Grinelli, that man is animated. I mean, he has not gotten tired in 30 years. He goes after his players. I saw him go after Sue Porter the other day in a game that they had the lead well in hand, and he was lecturing her and teaching her quite often.
And they love him. They love playing for him. He's feisty, they're feisty. He's at the right school doing the right thing. He gets the kind of player that comes in that has some attitude, which is a good attitude. And his attitude, he challenges them with it. So, he's got that mentality, and players love it if they think that way. And he's done a good job finding kids that think the way that he does. He's tough as nails. He gets players that is tough as nails.
Coaching tonight in his 797th ball game. That's a lot of walkthroughs.
And he tells me that he just, he wants to do it for another 700. He just loves this game. He's not tired. The winning excites him. The play excites him.
Sace inbound. Down by 11 with 7.5 left. Boschko, a quiet second half because of foul problems. Off the knee that time of Harris.
But, Seton continues to contest her outside shot, and she's quick enough to recover when Gunther puts it to the ground.
Steal by Harris. She read that time the inbounder's attempt.
Someone's done a really nice job of scouting their out-of-bounds plays because they've not been able to score on them.
Porter and Gonzalez team of the backcourt. Harris for the crossover and the run.
Well, Harris is starting to step up, and Gunther's frustration is beginning to really show on her face.
11 in the ball game for Felicia Harris. Tipped out of the post there by Seton.
Time becomes a factor too. You think that 7 minutes is plenty of time. Well, it has a tendency to chip away, and then you're at a 2-minute mark and down by 10. You have to do spectacular things. You have to take the game 2 at a time, and you have to begin to make your move with this kind of time on the clock.
A triple by Boschko.
And no one's on the board. Yeah, and no one is on the board for him.
As Gonzalez setting up for a triple. Coming in the back door, Phillip in a reset. 6.5 left, still a 13-point Peahen lead. Beautiful dish. Setting up Seton from Gonzalez.
I'll tell you, Gonzalez is having a great game. She is, at this point, the player of the game. She's done everything. She's dished off. She's rebounded. She's controlled the offense. Boy, she has played some defense as well.
3 by Lolliger. That's only half by Seton.
And it's I think it's the 4th offensive rebound. You take a look here. Ball's here where Gunther is. Lolliger makes a move. Ball comes back. Look at this spacing. You have less than a foot here. You have 3 players that are playing great defense, and you have no movement. Someone has to come on this block. There's where your opening is. And you take a look again here, and you have nobody around the glass. You have 1 player going in, and that's been the difference all night long. They're pounding the glass. They're getting the job done, and Siena just isn't. A little double dribble there.
Yeah, they got away with that one.
Yeah, they sure did.
There's Harris dumping out to Porter. Blowing by Lolliger. for Seton again. She loves the right side.
I'll tell you, Seton has big numbers today. She's doing it all. But the thing that you won't see in the box score with Seton is how she has altered Gunter's game.
Phillips sneaking up that time on Boschko. And the Saints will keep it.
I don't know if anybody would have believed that this game would have been so much in favor of St. Peter's here in the Pepsi Arena. Whoa.
Nasty block that time by Seton. And then a loose ball foul is called against Mary McKissick of the Saints.
And that's just frustration. Boy, I'll tell you what, Seton just sent that into the seats.
And did it with the left hand.
God, she's had a game of games tonight.
Down to 5.5 in regulation as Castelli watches on. Kraft coming in for Lolliger now. Saints putting their 23-5 record on the line. They won the regular season title at a 16-2 mark, the #1 seed entering play. Meanwhile, the Peahens, the #2 seed with 24 wins overall. They went 15-3 in the MAAC this year. Gonzalez got it blocked by McKissick, and last touch by Harris out of bounds.
And Gonzalez is pleading with Harris to get to the low block when I make that penetrating move because I want somebody to dish it to.
Got the sophomore lecturing the senior.
There you go.
Saints are facing a 15-point deficit with just 5 minutes left.
They've got some work to do. Boschko's got to think about scoring. She's not thinking about scoring now. She's looking over her shoulder.
See Kraft trying to trail it down off the long miss by McKissick. 14:47 now left. Back into the game, Layla Willis. And another timeout called by the Saints.
It's been all St. Peter's. But take a look at this replay and we talk about it. Boschko is here in the low block. Ball comes in, and you'll see what Boschko will do now. She thinks Seton is behind her. Who's behind her is Harris. All she needs to do is turn and take it. She doesn't find Yansoni. She doesn't find Kraft. She goes for Mira McKissick, who is on the opposite side of the court. Not the best decision. Not the best decision. She probably would have been better served just to have taken it herself. She has been so intimidated by Seton's presence that her offensive game has dropped down to a level of average. Now, we're talking average. She's probably at 18 points in the ball game. But we're so accustomed to her dominating and reading her D. Seton has done yeoman's work in the defensive end. She's got Boschko moving away from the basket. I've not seen that, and I've seen Boschko probably play 10 times.
I say Peter's really the only blemish there, the 10 team fouls. You know, I'm jealous of you. You get to use that nice little marker on the screen.
There you go. Well, you've been marking me up with your pens here, so I get a chance here to mark the screen.
Harris floating in front of us, hit to Phillip. Ball comes down to the final 4.5 minutes. And you know, the Peahens will take a lot of time off each time.
Well, you know, I think Gunta has played very well, and I think Erica Anderson has played very well. But if you were to ask, are there other players on the Siena team that has stepped it up? I don't think Gunta has played a Gunta game, but they haven't. When you look out here, they truly haven't. The Siena players, other than Gunta and Erica Anderson, there isn't anyone who's given them what they need to win tonight.
Gonzalez had a game of her life for the feed.
I'll tell you what, and Gonzalez has played the game of her life tonight. I mean, this St. Peter's is here because of her.
13 points in the championship game. Kraft will keep it, and her teammates as well.
And Seton, you know, reaches in, gets a little hand in there, making sure that, you know what, Kraft, I'm not going to just give it to you. I'm going to make you understand that I'm here to play, and she's done that all night long.
Correction, that's not a little hand.
No, the long hand of Seton.
Anderson begging for Boschko to jump out with the 3 on the way.
Well, Harris is upset. Now they've got to turn up the D. Okay, you're down 14. You can't be wasting time here. Turn up the D.
Saints still with some fouls to give, and the boot that time by Kraft. 3:41 left here in the championship game of the 2002 HSBC Women's MAAC Tournament. Back with our final minutes after this.
This game is brought to you in part by HSBC, by the Pepsi-Cola Company, the joy of Pepsi, Ryder Trucks, logistics and transportation solutions worldwide, and by I Love New York. Show your love for New York State.
The Saints have won 7 times in this building this year, 7-0. And they've won 9 in a row in the Pepsi Arena. Right now, severely challenged, down by 14 with 3:41 left.
Well, you know, St. Peter's brought its A game, and they have been so disruptive defensively, both on the perimeter and in the post. And Gonzalez has just played the best basketball of the evening. She's just done everything.
Already with 8 assists, just 2 turnovers, and scoring 13 points.
And Gunther's going to get the foul. You know, Harris, again, taking it to the middle, challenging both Yansoni on help and challenging Gunther. And Felicia Harris can hit the shot. It's going to be about hitting foul shots now with 3 minutes left. I'm not sure it's going to be 3-point foul shot or quick running. But you got to rebound in order to run, and Siena just hasn't done that.
Actually called that one on Yansone, her second personal. Harris releasing. Boschko has scored 18. Has to be the quietest 18 I've seen in recent times.
She's really worked for it. You know, she's taken 16 shots, Dean, and, you know, she's well below her percentages. She shoots about 50% from the floor. She's shooting more like 33% right now. She's taken 5 3-pointers and only been able to nail 2 of them, and she's not rebounded. That, you know, she averages 10 rebounds a game. She's only got 5 for the night.
Yansone setting up McKissick. Walliger can shoot from 3. He's going to run it inside, drawing the foul.
Well, they're going to get to the foul line, and it stops the clock a little bit. You know, Yansoni has big numbers on the offensive end. If you look, she has 12 points. She's shooting fabulously from the floor, 4 for 6 and 4 for 4 from the 3-point line. Problem is that she's only been on the boards on 3 occasions, 2 of them in the offensive end, and I think that she has hurt them a little bit on her defensive slides. I don't think she's gotten over and helped as often, and I think Gonzalez has realized that and taken the ball to the hole for St. Peter's and gone in uncontested.
At the last media break, St. Peter's out-rebounding Siena 41-25.
They just crushed them. They just crushed them on the boards. And you can't run if you don't rebound. And if you're not offensively rebounding, you're going to have to shoot 60% from the floor. That's not going to happen. Without offensive rebounds, Siena's being held to 34% from the floor.
Turnover off the pressure. Finished by Kraft. At the 3-minute mark, it's still a 12-point deficit for the Saints. And Mike Grinelli doesn't want it to get away, and he calls for a timeout.
And boy, I'll tell you what, he's just getting after Willis right now. He's screaming at him. But you know what? Willis looks at him, smiles. Knows she made a mistake, and you know what? Willis won't do it again. And Coach Grinelli knows, as a veteran coach, who he can do that with and who he can't. And I'll tell you what, it works for some kids, doesn't work for others. Some of them are nodding, some of them can't take it. He knows who.
This copyrighted telecast of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the MAAC and MAAC Properties, a division of Host Communications. Thanks for joining us here on the MAAC Television Network tonight. Final minutes here of the 2002 HSBC Women's MAAC Tournament. Off the turnover, the finish that time by Kraft. And that's when Mike Grinelli decided to get the TO. Gonzalez breaks the pressure through 3 defenders. And Willis looking for the finish. Yansone picks it up.
And I think you're going to see a offense-defense substitution right now. I don't think Yansoni is really effective in the full court on the press, so you'll see Lalger perhaps come in for her after the free throw so that they can get something going. So you might see defense-offense substitutions.
Willis making that one. Yansone picking up her 3rd foul. Here comes Lalger in. Kraft will check out. Well, that man is 8-3 in championship games, getting close to that 9th win.
Well, you know, he's had seniors that have been here before, and they want to get back.
Saints next year return all 5 starters. They only lose 2 seniors, and both of them come off the bench.
Well, both St. Peter's and the Saints are going to be back. You can be sure of that.
Just not there tonight on the 3-point range of Boschko. She hit her first one and gone cold.
Yeah, you know, she hit her first one, and Seton knocked her to the ground. And since then, it's all gone downhill for her. And now we have the offense-defense substitution I was talking about. You have Kraft come back in for Yansoni now. A little quicker lineup, a little smaller lineup.
A lot of minutes tonight for Gonzalez. And the veteran Porter stays on the bench. The steal by McKissick. Kraft for three.
And they're going to call, is it Willis over the back or Phillips over the back here? It's Willis that goes over the back, going to the boards. And I don't think you see that in her stats. You see she scores 3 points and gets 3 rebounds. I think she's very disruptive, and that's what a good defender does.
Got a lot of fans here in attendance from nearby Siena High School, where they won the state title 2 years ago, and she was first team All-New York State.
Well, the fans just haven't had a chance to get into the game. St. Peter's has really silenced the crowd.
And that's what's going to have to be the case for the Saints to foul here in the waning 2:17.
And again, you have to foul a team that shoots 72% from the floor. Now, Gonzalez is a 69% free throw shooter, but I got to tell you, the way she's playing tonight, she's able to throw the ball up with her eyes closed and it's falling. So she has done a great job. And, credit Coach Granelli, because knowing that he needed more of an up-tempo style, more of what he needed from his team, he's getting from Gonzalez, and Porter's had to sit, and she's cheering, and she's enthusiastic about it. This is great team effort on their part.
Gonzalez getting dangerously close to a double-double with the 13 points and the 8 assists.
Hey, she's only 5'3". I mean, we're not talking that she's a 5'4". I'm sorry. I know how kids are about that inch that you take away, but, Lindsay is not a big player, but has played huge.
Yatsune in a post. Rimming out.
Just won't fall for her. Just won't fall.
Walliger. Off on the 3. Phillip is hacked by McKissick.
Yeah, and McKissick, they got to be careful now. You don't want to get any intentional fouls. That sort of changes everything. But, you talk about the St. Peter's players coming up. They came with A games. And everybody that came into the bench, off the bench, from McDonough and Barthold to Gonzalez to Porter to Seton to Steers to Harris, they've played a lot of kids, and every one of those kids responded in a positive way.
Cecilia, the 7th day of the week, Sunday's been very good to the Beehans. Obviously, they go to church just prior to this perfect 10-0.
I think it's Mike Rinelli's church.
His house of worship.
That's right. He's got them worshiping the right way on a Sunday.
Another reset for the Beehans. Trying to secure the MAAC title on the road. This year on the road, they won 10 of 13 battles. Down to the final 90 seconds of the ball game.
Oh, she just put the dagger in the heart of Siena. That game is just about over with that shot, because this woman has just played incredible basketball.
Walliger draining a 3. Timeout, Saints.
They're going to have to pull a Duke. Last year when Maryland was up by 13 or 11 with a minute left and Duke was able to come back, that's what's going to take, and that's why we call it basketball. That's what can happen. But what they've got to do right away is they have to either foul, steal. You can't waste time. You've got to send them to the foul line. You take a look at the foul shooting situation. It's Siena's 8th, so they'll still be in 1-on-1s. So you have a situation where you got 2 to waste in the 1-on-1 situation. Who do you foul? I don't think that you can worry about who you foul, Dean. I think you have to foul right away. Now, the other end, when you get it back, you have to take good shots. You have to take 3s if you have it, 2s or drives if you can. You got to make them, and if you don't make them, you got to crash the boards like crazy. And those are all desperation kind of things that can be done. And certainly, Siena has been in this position before. We'll find out if they can get it halfway home. St. Peter's, however, you know what? 13-point lead. Mike Rinelli squad. That's a tough one.
In retrospect, it's been an excellent weekend, though, for the Saints. The men's team moving on to the championship game on the strength of a 20-point win today in the semis over Fairfield. And they'll take on Niagara tomorrow night right here at the Pepsi Arena. Tickets still available. They're hoping to get a house of 10,000 plus.
And they should, because the men's games have been so wonderfully played that if you're basketball fans, come out and watch it. Come on, foul. You got a foul here.
Boschko reaches in.
I'll tell you what, you waste 11 seconds bringing it down. You have to hit him in the backcourt. If you're not going to steal the basketball, and you wait until the half court, you waste too many seconds. The challenge becomes now of not being able, you don't have enough seconds on the clock to get the amount of shots that you need. Whether you go defense, offense here isn't enough.
You're tired. It's frustrating to try and chase people down when they're lobbing the ball around the horn. You're just trying to get there to foul.
Yep.
Sue Porter back onto the court. She hails from Doylestown, Pennsylvania, majoring in biology. Her sister actually goes to St. Peter's as well as a sophomore on the St. Peter's women's soccer team. That's Felicia Harris in the final minutes of her senior career before she heads to the NCAAs if they hold on and win here. Came up short on the second one. Lolliger for another runner. Harris will just hold on and draw the foul.
Yeah, and that's what they're going to have to do right now. Make foul shots, 14-point lead. It's a great test of clock management right now. I think that coaches that do a really good job with their team, they call it the Dan Marino 2-minute drills. They know exactly what to do to protect the lead in order to walk away from a win. And Siena 2-minute drills are all about shots and plays and getting rebounds. And you know what? It's been done. It can be done. But the way Siena's played, they've played a B game all night long. They haven't brought their A game. I don't know if you can find your A game in the last minute if it's been hiding all night long.
Well, for the Peahens, 8-3 in the finals of the MAAC championship, and they have won 5 in a row, getting close to that 6 under a minute left, and they lead here by 16. Anderson, foul line jumper.
They just can't make it. They just can't make a shot.
Put back by McKissick. Quiet night for McKissick tonight. Her first 2 points. And the automatic foul.
McKissick, I think she has great tools, but through the tournament, we just haven't seen the Mary McKissick of the season. And she's been quiet, but she hasn't complimented.
This is our Pepsi player of the game, and it's a no-brainer because this lady has been the difference.
Oh, my goodness. She's been everything. Look at these stats on her. 17 points. She's 6 for 12 from the line, 100%. She's 5'3", 5'4". She has 6 rebounds, 8 assists. And I think that the shot that really sealed the coffin was the three-pointer she pulled up here just a few seconds ago.
So the Pepsi player of the game here at the Pepsi Arena on the road for Lindsey Gonzalez, the sophomore from Haverstraw, New York. In high school, she was voted the most athletic in her class, both in basketball and softball. A lot of these young ladies playing the 2 or 3 sports while they were in their undergraduate career.
And I'll tell you what, I think it's a great thing. I'm really disappointed that so many kids are picking a sport and then, dedicating their all existence to it. Because I think it makes you a better athlete by playing different sports. Teaches you a whole lot of different things.
Moshko falling down and screaming at the same time. You just saw Felicia Harris being taken out as Mike Grinelli wanted to give her just time.
Well, I think, he wants her to get a hand and, they can hug her and congratulate her. They're going back to the dance. This is her 3rd appearance. It's her 3rd championship. She has a lot to be proud of. She has had a wonderful career here at St. Peter's. Hats off to her. She's crying. She's so excited about it. This wasn't supposed to happen. They were the number 2 seed. They were not the number 1 seed coming in. They struggled a little bit during the year, but I'll tell you what. He's smiling now. This is one of the few times I've seen Coach Grinelli smiling. That and in one interview after a big win. The kids hug him. They love this guy. They love this guy.
Yeah. Well, he got a chance to smile when he saw you were going to interview him after the game the other day.
Well, yeah, he likes camera. Let's face it, Steve.
Bosco, it's another one. Pepsi Arena's been good to St. Peter's here in championship games. A perfect 3-0 and getting close to that 4-0 mark.
Yeah.
Had a timeout as Gonzalez knew she was in trouble.
Well, she did the wise thing. She handled, and give credit Siena. Siena knows they haven't got anything left right now. Up until the point where they started to foul, this game was kept in the 60s. Just where St. Peter's needed to be. They rebounded very well. They did a great job on Boschko. I thought that the matchup of Seton and Boschko really made the difference. And Harris, again, came up with a big game. Big games bring big players to the table, and Gonzalez was as big as they come tonight.
You mentioned Saints still possibly involved in a WNIT berth and maybe even hosting a game. What a great venue here at the Pepsi Arena.
That'd be terrific. You know, I know that the NIT is not where you want to be if you thought about going to the NC2A tournament, but you know what? It gives her players a chance to play in another tournament atmosphere. And with all of the players that Siena has returning on the squad next year, it's a great opportunity for them to regroup and go out feeling good about themselves. I don't think anyone likes ending the season losing, but I think you like it less as a coach when you know your team did not play up to potential. You see Gun Tabasco just breaking down, hugging Coach Castelli, really upset with her performance. You know, 20.6 rebounds, still not enough for her team. You know, she's been to the NC2As. Everybody talks about this being Boschko's team, and she just couldn't carry him tonight. Not against all 5 Peahens, because it was a team game for the Peahens tonight.
Yeah, 4 players in double figures. Good team balance. Everybody attacking the glass as well. And the hero, that lady right there, Lindsey Gonzalez, banging 2 free throws, up to 19 points here tonight.
Yeah, you know, she did a great job, and she has to feel so pleased about, I mean, a sophomore. How good do you feel about this? You know, and she, again, and she has a chance to play in 3 championship games as well. So
new career high for Lindsey Gonzalez with a 19.
What a night to put it together.
McGonigal from deep. Check it, Jansone. And she let go on that one to make it 81-68.
But, you know, and that's all that they were able to get tonight. They've gotten points out of the paint and not in the paint. Credit Seton and Sears for keeping the big people away from the basket. And when they went out to the perimeter, those 2 players contested everything. And the name of the game, rebounding, defensive pressure, and good things happened to St. Peter's when they played that. You know, but St. Peter's, having watched them a number of times, when they bring the big game, they're a good team. When they bring their A game, whoa,
yeah, watch
this
out.
team can beat anybody.
Be interesting to see what seed they get in the upcoming NCAAs.
Well, I think, you know, my guess is they might go a 9 or a 10. I don't believe that. I think the MAAC has too high a power rating for them to go any lower than that. I don't know if they'll go much higher than 6, but I think they'll be a middle. And then, you know what? They play a team that they can beat.
The 3 there in the late stages by Lolliger. Final couple seconds, they call a held ball. And it will stay the way of the Peahens with 0.4 of a second left. 83-71. St. Peter's here.
Ooh.
And the game ends on a crash.
Yeah,
but St. Peter's has come to Siena and crashed their party with this win. The final count, St. Peter's 83 and the Saints of Siena 71. A disgruntled Gun Tabasco as they meet and greet at the center circle.
Well, very sad, Gun Tabasco. I think that she's just disappointed that she couldn't take her team to the promised land. You know, they're here, they're on their home court, they play in front of their fans, they win the regular championship, and now they, in what should be their shining moment, they end up in a very sad situation. You know, credit the St. Peter's kids. Credit Coach Brunelli, but this is a sad moment. You take a look at the score: St. Peter's 83, Siena 71.
Final score here in Albany: St. Peter's 83, Siena 71. The Peahens of St. Peter's are going to the dance. They are the 2002 Women's MAAC champion. For Cecilia DeMarco, I'm Dean Darling saying good night from Albany, New York.
Anna Barthold. Shaka Kushny. Lindsey Gonzalez. Felicia Harris. Kara Leslie. Kimberly McDonough. Natasha Phillip. Sue Porter. Ginger Quinones. Tiana Sears. Tanisha Seaton. And Layla Willis. Assistant coach Bill McKeever. Assistant coach Stephanie DeWolf. Assistant coach Paul Schob. Team manager Janet Jackson. Team manager Maritza Rodriguez. Head trainer Dan Sicker. Sports information director Tim Masterson. Senior women's administrator and assistant athletic director Julie Peterson. Athletic director Bill Stein. And head coach Mike Grinelli. And now for the presentation of the 2002 HSBC MAAC Women's Basketball Championship Team Trophy. Accepting the trophy on behalf of St. Peter's are Sue Porter and Felicia Harris. Congratulations to the St. Peter's Behens, the 2002 HSBC MAAC Women's Basketball Tournament champions. And now it's time for the 2002 HSBC MAAC Basketball All-Tournament team. From Manhattan College, Rosalie Mason. From Siena College, Liane Yansone.